Good evening, everybody. I don't think anyone's here yet, but I am going to say good morning, good evening, good day, wherever you are. I'm just sending out an invite to a couple of people, and we'll go from there. It's amazing the content you find on Facebook. Pop on sometimes and I'm like, whoa, what the hell's that? Can be very interesting. I don't have the StreamYard screen in front of me just yet, so if you have popped in, hello, I will be with you momentarily. Okay, on that, let's go back. Hello, Jazzy. Hi, Fairy and Stash. Jazzy, hi, I can't stay long off to bed soon as I am sick. I am so sorry to hear that, my darling. I have been sick too, as you know. 2 bloody weeks with flu or COVID or whatever the hell it was, and 4 days with a mega migraine. Last 4 days. Worst I've had in, I would say, probably a good 4 or 5 years. It was absolutely shocking. Can hear you. Good. I'm glad you can hear me, my darling. We have Brett here as well. Hello, Brett. Hello. Oh, I hope my stream didn't just shit itself. You would not believe the problems that I've been having with my computer this evening. Can you guys still hear me?
Hello. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, good. Yeah, I can hear you now. I didn't know if it was me or not.
I'm having I can only go on audio because I've got that live stream running, so I can't run 2 live streams on because it'll slow the computer down too much.
Yeah, it will. That's all right.
Are you live yet?
Yeah, I'm live.
Oh, great.
I was just sitting here rambling to myself, and then Jazzy and Fairy popped in.
No notification again.
Oh, I know. And I had major issues with my computer. The screen kept going black and then it would restart. So it could be on its way out finally.
Hang on. Let me see if I can.
Hi, Mark and Annette.
Oh, got it. That's okay. So I want to pop the chat out.
Oh, I didn't even think of doing that. I'm a bit slow
And
today.
I've muted my YouTube now as well. I only want to pop the chat out.
Okay. Oh, Jazz, I've had the last few weeks from hell. It's just everything's falling apart.
But your gonorrhea's cleared up now, has it?
Sure. No, I was just telling Jazzy, like, I spoke to Jazz when I was sick anyway, but how I tested myself during my flu, as I called it, because I was coming up negative.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to you, and you're like, "No, that sounds like
Yeah.
COVID."
Exactly the symptoms I had.
Yeah. 2 weeks down and out.
Yeah. Well, I'm still blocked. I've still got blocked ears, so I hope I'm going to end up permanently deaf like Jason. But my right one's worse than my left one. But
Oh, you're
just got to wait and
kidding.
see. Better than it was, but when I get up, you can feel it. You get that feeling of like there's something stuffed in your ear, even though there ain't.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, well, that's what I've had since it went off. All my symptoms have gone now, thank God. But it took over 2 weeks for me to get rid of it. People are going, "Oh yeah, you'll be over it after 5 days." Nah, 2 weeks. I was still testing positive on the tests.
It's crazy, isn't it? And someone said to me too that like the tests aren't actually that accurate. They had a few at home tests they did, and they all came up negative. And they're like, nope, this isn't right. So they went and had themselves tested at a testing clinic, and it actually came up positive.
Yeah. Well, when they first came out and they were conning everybody into having the vaccines, there was a guy on YouTube who actually used his dog as a test and sent it in, and they claimed he got COVID, and it weren't even his
God.
saliva; it was the dog's.
Oh my God.
So you do have to take it with a grain of salt. I think when you've got it, you've got it. You don't need a test to tell you you've got.
Oh,
You know,
no.
people say it's like flu. It ain't. Well, it is and it ain't. It's like the worst flu you've ever had. You can tell the difference.
Yeah, I can honestly say if that was the flu that's going around, I have never had a flu that bad. Like
Yeah,
I was in bed for 4 days
yeah,
solid because
yeah,
I had no energy. My
yeah,
skin was sore,
yeah,
just everything hurt, and you just felt dead, more or
yeah,
less.
yeah.
Yeah,
Even now, I'll still go to bed occasionally, like dinner time, and go and have an hour in bed because
yeah,
that tired feeling is getting better and better. But it's taking a long time for it to wear off the tiredness feeling.
yeah. And I felt breathless for a little while after I was getting better as well. Like even now, even though I'm better, you've still got to every now and again because you got
Yeah,
phlegm.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'll get that anyway because of being an ex-smoke. I've packed up smoking now. It's been five. It's been five. I'm vaping instead. It's been 5 6 weeks since I've had a cigarette at least.
Oh my
But
God.
so my lungs are clearing. But with
Yeah.
me, obviously with my heart condition, I have breathing problems anyway. But that they ramped up when I had COVID. They really did.
Jesus.
Shot. I'm just
Oh my
reading the chat.
goodness. Yeah, I'm normally pretty active, especially with the kiddies and that. If we're not,
Yeah,
we even go down the park constantly and go for walks and that. I was too scared to leave the house for 2 weeks because I got it,
yeah,
and then on my fourth day, Xavier got it,
yeah,
and then by another 3 days, I think Monica got it, and this is what made me think maybe it was COVID too. Charlotte was the only one that didn't get sick,
and
but
she'd had
yet
it recently.
Charlotte had it a couple of months ago.
Yeah, yeah,
So I thought, oh, well, you can't catch it for a couple of months after you've had it.
yeah.
So,
The trouble is it's mutating that fast now. No amount of vaccines are going to protect you from it. You might as
yep,
well just get it, build the antibodies naturally, and deal with it.
I
Because
agree.
no vaccine is going to protect you from a virus that mutates that quick. No vaccine.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, it's nasty. It is.
But hopefully, fingers crossed, I shouldn't have it again now. But like I say, I have never had a jab in. I've never had a vaccine. I refuse to have them because they linked it to our problems, and I've got our problems as it is, so don't want any
Yeah.
more. And we went through a really bad pandemic in 2020 and 2021. We were locked down literally for 18 months. I never had it. And yet everybody I know who'd had the vaccine was down with COVID. I never had it.
Well, this is the funny thing. If Fairy's still in here, I'm not sure if she is. I know that both Fairy and I had it, and I've had heart palpitations ever since I had it. And I
Yeah,
mean, like, I can be just sitting down doing nothing at night
yeah,
time watching TV, and I feel like my heart's pounding really fast.
Yeah.
Fairy actually has a heart condition now,
Yeah.
um, and I got it this pretty much the same as you. So what the
Hmm.
hell was the vaccine for if we're
Yeah.
just going to get the same,
Yeah.
like,
Well,
sick as sick?
it was the same. Jason and his mum and dad all had it on the same day.
Yeah.
They had the first one with no real problems, admittedly. When they went for the second one, they had it on I think it was the Thursday. The Friday morning, Jace got up and he'd gone deaf, and his dad was rushed into hospital the same day. Blood clots had formed on his legs, and that was what eventually finished Jason's dad off. And Jace obviously has still got permanent deafness. And they both went down with that literally 24 hours after having that second jab, both of them on exactly the same day.
It is just so shocking.
Yeah,
Here in Australia at the moment, they were trying to get a thing passed through Parliament where, because when the vaccine first came in, they put a band-aid on the doctors. So they said to the doctors, you can't talk about it. If something goes wrong, you can't disclose anything and blame the vaccine more or less. They're
yeah,
trying to have that lifted
yeah.
because there's so many cases of people having things go wrong.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I don't have the flu vaccine either. Most people have the flu vaccine once a year over here. I don't have any vaccines. I'm of the mindset that you might as well just get what you're going to get, because the vaccine doesn't stop you getting it. It just supposedly, you know, reduces the time that you have it, or helps you fight it off quicker.
Yep.
I had this COVID, obviously, middle of July it started. Jace caught it as well, even though he'd had two vaccines, and Jace had it as long as I had it. And
Yes.
I've got no vaccine in me. Jace has got two lots of vaccines he's had, and we had it exactly the same time period. So it solves nothing.
It's yeah, exactly. You're going to have it the same anyway. So I
Yeah,
wonder if they actually are doing studies on that, like
yeah,
getting people that live the same kind of lifestyles, have the same kind of illnesses.
yeah,
One's vaccinated, one's not, and compare the
yeah,
two.
yeah.
Bet you there's no
Yeah, well,
bloody.
the reason that's happening, Jazz, and this is why Jace. Oh, it's all right. One of my goldfinches has just come back. It's all right. I can't see me live stream at the same time. Um, the reason that happens is because it affects your autoimmune system. It attacks your autoimmune system, and that's why Jace goes deaf, because it attacks the hearing. Oh, you've linked my new channel up there.
Yeah, shout it out. Everyone go subscribe to that channel. That's Brett's other channel.
Currently live at the moment. If you're quick enough,
Yep.
you'll see a couple of goldfinches going mad on the feeders. I had blue tits today twice, and a robin. It's a it's
Oh.
a lot more relaxing than the paranormal, Julie. I tell you.
Oh, there we go. You just got another one too.
Yeah,
Oh, there's three there.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm watching your live streams. We're live streaming. This is good. Those feeders are brilliant, though, aren't they?
Yeah, well, that one on the left arrived last night, and I had to quickly try and get it up because it was getting dark, and the young goldfinches, which are the ones without the red faces at the moment, were all sitting on the feeders and wouldn't leave. And I thought, I'm going to have to go down and set it up because I've got to rearrange them all. And I went down, and they all flew off except one, who sat on the one feeder, and he never moved until I actually picked the feeder up he was sitting on to move it.
Cheeky sod.
He just sat there, grabbing as much seed as possible.
He's like, this is mine. Isn't that? Do you think like the parents that come in with the babies?
Yeah.
Is it the same family that keeps coming back? Do you
Oh
think?
yeah, yeah. They all flock. They'll gather in huge flocks, goldfinches eventually. But I've actually caught them this morning. One of the parents feeding one of the youngsters on the feeder, and
Oh.
they're actually past the feeding stage now, but they still beg. Any adult that turns up, they still beg, and they found a sucker who was prepared to do it this morning.
Oh,
But
you're so welcome, Jazz.
I had 7 of them on there yesterday, all at once. That's why I had to buy the new feeder, because the sunflower arts, which they seem to like the most, even though the Niger is what they're supposed to have, had only got 2 ports on it, so it's only got 2 perches and 2 holes. So I've had to buy one with 6, because they were all sitting in the tree making a row because they couldn't get on the sunflower seed feeder.
Little buggers.
There's 2 on there now. There's one on the side and one on the back. You can just
Yep.
see backside sticking out. But when they get too many, they'll go and feed off the Niger as well, which is like thistle. It's really tiny seed, that one.
That's the black seed,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that feeder's a specialist feeder because it's got no big holes in it. It's got 2 tiny little slots. It's got a tiny slot above each perch, and they have to pick the seed out through the slot like they would out of a thistle.
No.
Yeah, Jazz, I've got a bearded dragon. Yowie.
Oh yes. Um.
Big fat Yowie.
Yeah. I'll have to. What live was it? One of the lives that we had, Jazz. Brett brought her out and showed her to everyone. She's huge now.
Was it the last?
She's.
Was it the last live?
It was the last live or the one before. It was one
Yeah,
of the last
yeah,
two. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But she's beautiful now. She's so red
Yeah,
and fat.
she's gone from palm size to chest size in what, 9 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's big now.
She is very big.
Jason's frightened of her now because he says she's bigger than a rat.
Just put her on his pillow. he'll come in. Ah!
He goes in the back bedroom and peeks at her occasionally just to make sure they're still in there, I think.
Make sure you haven't got her out anywhere.
Ugh.
Does she have baths and things like that?
I put her in the bath occasionally. She's not a big water lover, and
Okay.
they ain't normally anyway. And people
Yep.
used to, there was a false myth about them at one point where people were claiming that they could absorb moisture through the butts, through the vent at the back end, which is a load of crap. They get all the moisture they need out of the food they eat, but it does do it if they're coming up to a shed. Sometimes it's a good idea to soak them if they've got any skin that's struggling to come off, but they don't really need a bath. There's a little saucer of water in Yowie's tank. It's not for her to drink. It's just to make sure the humidity don't drop too low. Because even though they like low humidity, with the heat in there, it can go down as low as like 15, and you need to keep it roughly between 20 and 30 for them.
Josie reckons she's going to get one. If you get one, Josie, Brett was telling me that there's a specific kind of light that you should get.
Yeah, they've got to be kept under UV. But is Jazz in
Mm.
Australia?
Yeah, she's in Queensland, which is quite warm.
Yeah, but if over there, you can put them outside in an enclosure, and they hi Sam.
Hey!
Hello. You can put them outside in an enclosure and they'll get all the natural light they need. Whereas over here, we haven't got the UV index that Australia has. So, but you're best having a UV light from even in Australia for when they're in the tank, because otherwise they get metabolic bone disease and it causes all sorts of horrible problems and death in the end.
Yeah, you don't want that. Poor things. Just trying to find the picture of you with Yowie on your chest. What have you been doing, Sam?
Hello, I had to come back out again. I've got no audio.
Okay.
See you in a minute.
Okay.
I love that sign that she's got there behind her.
Thinking Egypt.
Figure Egypt.
Anybody can talk Irish with 4 simple words.
There you go, Jazzy. That's how big she is.
Yeah, she's about
She's
60.
fat.
She's about 16 inches long now.
And she's wide. She's a wide girl.
Oh, she is.
She's so beautiful, though. The way that she looks when you're going to feed her and, like, in this photo and that.
Mm-hmm.
She has this almost human look to her.
Oh yeah, she'll hand feeding it. She takes food out my fingers and stuff. I have to watch my fingers sometimes because they'll go in her mouth as well if you don't watch her.
That's a big worm. Oh.
She don't care. She sees food and that's it. The mouth's open.
She likes seafood.
Yeah, she literally eats seafood and eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you set up like mine. I've actually got red sand in. Well, not it ain't sand. It's actually proper. It's the same consistency of what you get in the outback because a lot of people think the outback's sand and it ain't actually. It's clay based with a lot of brick and stuff in it.
Ah.
Sam, you need to mute YouTube.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Yeah. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm having some. I'm having some technical issues. My main screen has gone off, so I'm kind of looking at you sideways.
It's all right.
We've all had tech issues tonight.
Oh, it's been. Do you know when you have all this equipment all connected up, and then one thing goes wrong, and it just messes up the whole thing? Do you know?
Yep. I had to restart my computer, I think, about 3 or 4 times because it would go to start up and come into the main screen, and then everything would go black, and it just would not come back. So I had to start it.
I've just got a message pop up. You're now a moderator for this channel.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice I weren't.
I think it's the first time you've been in this channel.
Oh, it's because I'm in on Urban, in it. That's why.
Yeah. So you got both of them on there now.
Yeah. I can't swap over because I'm streaming. That's what I thought. I hope it still shows Wolf Paranormal when I logged into StreamYards, and then I realised, yeah, it will, because you have to actually set it up.
Yeah. What are super worms?
Over here, they're called Murrier worms, but they are. Have you ever seen mealworms?
Yes.
Well, these are mealworms, but imagine them 3 times bigger. They're a hell of a lot bigger.
I wonder if witchetty grubs would be too big for them.
Oh no, they'd eat them.
Yeah.
They'll actually eat mice. Bearded dragons.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. People, a lot of people actually feed them every so often with either a young mouse or a pink. I don't give them yowie because I don't need to with what she eats. But there's people who've done videos on YouTube feeding live mice to bearded dragons, and I'm thinking, why? It's just not needed.
Yeah, exactly. You look at Yowie with all of her locusts and her worms. So many birds on your other channel.
Yeah, they come and go all day.
Birds are afraid to come to my area. It's that bad.
Sam, it was exactly the same here. When I set up my feeders, it took a month before I had a bird land on them. Literally.
Really?
Hmm. Yeah.
Is that
Having
good? Go, Sam.
saying that, there is a. Do you know when you have a busy road and the council builds, a kind of a noise barrier sort of thing
Yeah.
with trees and shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is sounds of birds in there, you know. So maybe in a couple of years when the trees grow up near the balcony and that, I'll have a bit more activity in that. But neighbours did throw out bread for the birds a couple of days ago, and nothing has touched them.
Got my first robin in the garden this morning, Jack. First time I've ever had one in the garden.
What colour are the robins there?
Robins are brown with a red breast. Over here they call them robin redbreast.
Red-breasted, yeah.
Yeah. It's like our magpies look different to yours as well.
Yeah, I didn't even know you had magpies over there.
Yeah, they're one of the most common birds over here.
Do they
They're,
chase you like ours?
no, no.
Oh,
Yours tend to look more jackdawish than ours do.
mm,
Your magpies have got more of a jackdaw shape, whereas ours have got more of a big bulbous crow type head. And personally, I think ours are a lot prettier because when the light catches them, although they look black and white, the feathers actually they're iridescent and they turn purple and green and blue and all sorts as the light catches.
yeah, that's
But
pretty.
I prefer your magpies for attitude. I think they're hilarious.
When they start chasing people when
Yeah,
they got baby.
yeah,
Actually, it's like baby season over here now, so I'll see if I can get one on video.
yeah. You'll have to.
Yeah. Take the kids down the park. Go play, kids.
Yeah,
Filming.
film them getting dive bombed.
That's cruel. Oh.
Yeah, they've got over here. They've got really long tails as well. The magpies, the tail's longer than the body.
Oh, really? You'll have
Yeah.
to see if you can get one of them
Mm-hmm.
on camera.
They do come in the garden occasionally. You'll probably see them on the bird table when I set the bird cable cam off.
Hmm, that'd be
But
good.
they are born thieves. That anything shiny they will steal. They are, and they go and put it in the nest. They're well known for being thieves.
I've heard that crows, if you feed crows regularly once they know that they can come and eat at your
Mm-hmm.
place, after a little while they'll actually start bringing you presents, like
Yeah,
little bottle
yeah,
caps or coins or,
yeah.
yeah.
But the magpie, the European magpie we have over here is one of only three birds in the world that can actually distinguish different human faces. So they get to know people, and if you do something nasty to them, they remember your face.
Yes. They
They
have a very long memory.
they mate for life, and they are the only bird species that shows grief if the mate dies.
Oh.
I had a strange experience. I was doing an abandoned explorer or a paranormal investigation. I can't remember which, but we were in. I
Have
was
a
in
good night, Jazz. Sorry, sir.
I was in Letterkenny, and I discovered a Turaco bird, which is from North Africa.
Mm-hmm.
It's green. It's green with a kind of a plume on the top of the head and black wings, and the brightest red underneath the wings that you'd see. And I actually managed to film it. It's
Oh, nice.
back to
Nice.
2017, I think it was. You know, when this channel was kind of starting.
Yeah.
Do you know?
We've had bee eaters here this year in Norfolk, in England,
Mm.
and they've actually nested this year and produced young. It's only the sixth time ever they've been sighted in the UK. So we're obviously getting warmer over here when we're getting African bee eaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked one of them up the other day when you mentioned the bee eater. I looked up a picture of it, and there are some similarities, I guess, in the colours, of
They're
the
very
little ones we
colourful.
have now. Yeah, but they're beautiful.
Yeah, they're very colourful compared to the majority of birds we get over here.
Do you have any coloured ones? Like over here we have the king parrots and the rosellas and things. Do you have any
Kingfishers.
like that? Uh,
The kingfishers over here have got iridescent feathers. So when you see them, they actually look like they're made out of metal.
oh, nice.
The feathers are almost like mirrors. They look like they're made out of metal.
Yeah.
Absolutely stunning birds, kingfishers.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Jack, Kim, Jackie Evelyn, Makininette, Tara. Hello. Yeah.
Have you finished saying hello to everybody now?
Yeah, I'm finished now.
That's okay then. Have you got any investigations planned?
Who, me?
Mm-hmm.
No, not really. I have a little series that I'm going to be working on until I can get out again.
Is that on only? Is that on OnlyFans?
How'd you guess? No. Something else. It'll be a controversial topic, put it that
Oh,
way. So
right. Okay.
I want to make sure I do it properly.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I was supposed to be off this weekend, but unfortunately, as you guys knew, I got sick, which you can't help. But hopefully, I'll be in Sydney maybe the next school holiday, so around October.
Nice. How
So
far is Sydney from you?
from me, it's probably about, because I don't speed or anything, I take it
Yeah.
easy, about 4.5 hours
Oh, but that's
for
just a
me.
drive. That's just a drive down the road for Australians, isn't it?
Yeah.
For us, that's a major excursion over here. You could get the length of the country in that time.
Yeah, it's a good part of New South Wales, I suppose.
4.5 hour drive in Australia is just going, down the road.
Yeah.
Over here is going straight across the country.
Yeah, well, my dad said that. He said, like, in the European states over there, UK and Paris and all them, sometimes you can drive for 20 minutes and you're in another country. And I'm like,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Yeah. All,
Crazy.
all, all I have to do is travel less than a mile.
Yeah.
Technically, I'll be.
Sam goes from Northern Ireland to Ireland.
In 1 mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, the currency goes from pounds to euros in less than a mile.
How do you get
And
on with that, Sam? Do they accept British money or do you have to swap it over?
The border towns accept notes, but not coins.
All right.
Do you know?
So what happens if you buy something with a note? They give you change in euros.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that must be confusing.
I use a card most of the time anyway, so it doesn't really bother me,
Mm-hmm.
And then it's kind of handy as well when you have fluctuations in fuel prices. Actually, the fuel prices went down in Southern Ireland,
Yeah.
and we go across the border for that. Way back when I was growing up, everybody went to across the border to get the petrol to the Northern Ireland because things are generally cheaper in Northern Ireland.
That's just the smart way of doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like I lived near the border, growing up on that, and when there was times when there was no conflict, in between conflict, let's say, you could go across the border and buy petrol and stuff like that. But way back when I was growing up, there was a physical customs hut that you had to pass. And then you had the Gardaí in Southern Ireland, which is the police service in Ireland. You go through the Gardaí, you go through the customs, and then you go through the police in Northern Ireland. There was 3 different checkpoints you had to pass to get from one part of the country to the other, basically.
Yeah.
And when you talk about police checkpoints in Northern Ireland, it was a time of conflict. So places like Bridgend, which I passed on a daily basis, it was like a fortress. It was just, you drive through this steel tunnel, and there was these turrets and these armed military people, pointing their guns down at you, basically, because it was a turret. It was a very, very tense time.
Scary.
But now you just drive past, and it's just the point of the border is basically a wall, and it just then is signed "Welcome to Republic of Ireland" or "Welcome to Northern Ireland" kind of thing.
What's your weather like at the moment, Julie? Is it warming up there now?
Oh, it is.
Because you're just coming into spring, aren't you?
Yeah, we're in the third day of spring now. Spring, you could feel spring though, just in the last probably week or so of winter. And we've got all the blossoms out on the trees and everything now, and it's quite warm. I think we've been having really warm days lately, like 18, 16. Yeah, it was 18 here today, 18 degrees Celsius.
I'd say it's 21 here at the moment. It's cooled off a lot compared to how it was. But we're obviously in autumn now, so we're ramping up towards winter. But I really don't want a repeat of this summer's weather ever again. Not 40-degree heat, thanks.
Oh, that was insane.
Yeah, see, what makes it worse over here compared to Australia is, in Australia, your houses are designed to expel heat. They're normally raised up, and they've got the porches and stuff, and they're designed to push heat out. Whereas over here, because we're normally cold over here, houses are designed to keep the heat in. So once it's in, you can't get rid of it, sort of thing.
Yeah, we only had... Do you know the time we had a heat warning? We had one day where it was 36, 37 or whatever. And then that Saturday, all the rain came down at once. That was the Saturday night we went to Cumber House, and then I ended up having a crash. So, yeah,
is that all sorted out now, Sam? With your car?
No. There is a mechanic near me that said he will take it next week, and it's hopefully not going to be too expensive.
What is it? Is it a tie bar that snapped, or the actual?
The wishbone.
The wishbone itself's gone.
Yeah, it actually was rotten anyway, so it was going to break.
Yeah.
It's in a pretty bad state. I drove home the Saturday night, and I left a trail of smoke behind me of the tire was burning. It was the steering. It was just very hard to keep it on the road. And when I got home, the tire looked like a wire brush. I mean, like, there was nothing left on the tire. And it hasn't moved since Cumber House, basically. But yeah, a friend of mine brought me out to a garage yesterday, and
do you think something was telling you shouldn't have been at Cumber House, Sam? Because everything went wrong that night, didn't it?
We got lost in everything, and yeah, anybody doesn't know. We just got into the car. The rain came down, and it came down as if it was like a bucket. There was buckets of water being thrown from above. The city flooded. The sewage came up out of the manholes. It's absolutely stunk. When you were driving, you couldn't see out the side windows with the water coming up. So you only had visuals in front of you, but the wipers weren't able to. And you were kind of driving blind.
Oh, wow.
And you were driving through a lot of water. But what happened was, on the way to Cumber House, what happened was they built a new road, and it kind of got confusing for me, and I ended up all over the place in the countryside and everything. Couldn't find it was like a motorway that I was
Yeah,
on,
because
and there was
you've been there before, ain't you?
loads of times, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a couple of years ago. And the exact same thing happened on the way back, but we were on this country road, and I came around this corner, and there was an avalanche of rocks and soil and gravel washed out onto the road. And when I came around the corner, it was just a blind corner, and I hit this rock, and the suspension snapped.
Oh.
You know, yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Something was definitely telling you that night not to be there.
Yeah, when we were there, two cameras malfunctioned. I was in foul humour all night because nothing was working properly. Yet, when I put the video up raw, I didn't fully investigate it or anything like that. I put the video up raw on my channel. Next thing, the people that invited me, Peninsula Paranormal. Next thing, Ronnie starts sending me messages, and we were getting EVPs and stuff. I still have to look into it, EVPs, light anomalies, the whole shebang, and he had it all listed out on a big row of messages, because they, when that team goes out, everybody investigates the footage when they go home.
Mm-hmm.
Because they actually stripped down their investigation. Normally you would see me go into Cumber House and go into the sort of the room where everybody meets and brings their equipment, and you'd see thousands and thousands of pounds worth of CCTV and spurt boxes and all sorts of cameras and SLS cameras and batteries. It was like the batteries were lined out as if they were like bullets. It was like a military zone. But they didn't bring as much this time, and they says they feel better for bringing less equipment and stuff. Because
Yeah.
we used to bring cases as well, and I have to bring them down 3 flights of stairs. I can barely bring myself down 3 flights of stairs. And when you're in the investigation and it's nearly the end, you're kind of going, oh fuck, I have to bring all this equipment all back up the stairs again.
Yeah, been there, done that.
So we just brought two cameras and a little bag. That's all we brought.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it didn't go great. But we did get a couple hours of footage in that. But you put the footage up and you leave it for the people and that, and next thing you just get comments like great video on that. And I'm thinking, you didn't even fucking watch it, did you?
Oh, it's so disheartening when you put so much
That
time.
is why
and effort.
whenever I comment on a video, I always comment on something specific in the video so that people know I've actually watched it.
Yes, exactly.
Some of these people, if a ghost came up and shook my hand, they would still fucking miss it.
Yeah.
That's what's flipping frustrating about paranormal YouTube.
Hey, Tara had a really good question actually in regard to the paranormal. She says, let me go back up. I have a question. If you've seen the Ghost Adventure show on TV, do you think it's real or staged? Maybe our hosts or those in the chat have an opinion. What's everyone's opinion?
Okay, read my response first then.
Right.
Brett says, totally staged. I think that it's staged. I think that with how many different haunted locations they have been to, there has to be some of it that's popped up that's real, that they've probably pooed their pants over. But I think a lot of it they've put together because it sells for TV.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
What Ghost Adventures, when they first started, like the vast majority of these big paranormal channels, they started out with the right intentions. There's no
Yeah.
question about that. As soon as the fame and the money starts, they have to keep that momentum going. And oh God, guess who's ringing? Hence,
Jason.
hence why they start to be forced to stage stuff. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
Zach Bagans and Aaron and all of them, Bill Chappell, they love the paranormal. They really do. And when they started out, when, you know, there was no Bill Chappell, there was just a couple of friends, you know, doing the paranormal. You know, I believe that they got real stuff. Now, the problem is when you start turning it into a business and you are involved in TV. Now, I'm nearly sure the TV production is belonged to Zach Bagans. Now, when you get in, say if you're a YouTuber, right, and a TV company rings you up and says, "Listen, we'd love to have you on our network. Could you produce some productions for us?" Now, what will happen? And this happened to John Zappas. You know, the haunted collector, the guy with the dolls and the haunted items and stuff. He had to do things slightly different for TV than he would do in real life. So when you get involved with TV companies, the TV companies own you, and the object of TV is to make money. If you are doing a paranormal investigation and nothing happens, which always happens in a real paranormal investigation,
I'm back.
Very subtle things happen. That's not good enough to bring in the audience, so they have to hype it up. They have to use their artistic license. Do you know? You can get the essence of the paranormal, but you know, you then question, is it a real picture of that? Do you know? TV has to have a bit of artistic license, otherwise the viewer will not watch. And that's what's happening now with YouTube as well, and it's been happening for years. You know, and that's why we get frustrated when we go out and we try and we get a light anomaly or we get one EVP, and then people go, this is boring as fuck, you know.
Yeah, but that's the reality of paranormal investigation in it, Sam. This is what a lot of these big channels have done. That they've now given Joe public the opinion that you go to an haunted location and something happens every 10 seconds, which is far from reality.
When you look at all the channels there are on YouTube to do with the paranormal, and then you look at some of these history channels, there's a guy called American Paranormal Research Association, and the amount of views he gets on his channel, which isn't very much, it's got history, it's got experiments, it's got lectures and stuff like that. The ghost hunters don't give two fucks about that. Do you know what I mean? And I'm gobsmacked on why. Why would you not look into the history of the paranormal if you're trying to find answers? Do you know? Do you know, you say to the average ghost hunter, you know, have you looked at any videos about Marcello Bacci? They go, who's Marcello Bacci? They haven't. A lot of them don't know. You know, they're copying directly what they see on Ghost Adventures and other shows. You know, without question. And I'm guilty of that too. I started off the same way. You know, I can put my hand up and say, you know, I copied what everybody else was doing. Do you know? But then you have to come to a point where you question what you're doing. Is it actually going to give you an answer or not? And a lot of the times you will get a half an answer. You will get to a certain point and then you can't invest it anymore because your equipment is inadequate. Do you know? And very often the equipment that's used in the paranormal are fucking toys. They will get EMF readings, temperature readings. You can get fluctuations, but that's as far as it goes. You cannot investigate the source with these cheap pieces of equipment. You can't go that far. You can only get to a certain point. You know.
Tracy made a good comment there about you're not going to get syndicated to Travel Channel or Discovery unless you jump through the hoops that the producers put before you.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Which I've responded to. I'd rather keep my integrity than please the Travel Channel. Because I've always done this for an interest in the paranormal, not for an interest in fame and fortune. And that's the difference where you need to find to sort your paranormal channels. You've got to decide whether you want to watch people who are in it for the money or people who are in it for the paranormal.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, with me, when I started out, I saw a lot of what people were doing and I was like, oh, this is so exciting. And then you go out and you start filming for yourself and you start to learn very quickly what's real and what's not, and what people are claiming is real, I will say, in videos, and what is not. And I think that you can still make videos that look good but stay true to the paranormal world.
Yeah.
You don't have to turn around and over exaggerate absolutely every single tiny little noise and claim it's paranormal and film yourself with all these big reactions. You can still have a really good bloody video that is genuine.
But you've got to ask yourself how many people who have gorged on the likes of Ghost Adventures and Most Haunted and them kind of things have decided, they've got a genuine interest in the paranormal. They've got that as a reference. They've gone out to an haunted location and nothing's happened, and they've given it up. Rather than sticking with, and there could be hundreds of people out there who could have something to contribute to the paranormal community. But because their perception is what they see on Ghost Adventures, they give it up and think they're no good at it, or whatever. And that is the thing that annoys me about those type of shows more than anything else, is the fact that they portray what they're doing as the real deal when they know it's not, and they give people the wrong impression.
Yeah, and also too, like the amount of bloody money that you have to pay to go anywhere these days to get the amount of evidence they show in just one of those shows. You would have to hire a place out for a month at least, just to get a small fraction.
You're talking 12 months to get even a fraction of what they so-called discover in one show, which is normally filmed over the course of 2 or 3 days.
Me and Rachel sometimes watch Ghost Adventures for comedy. We actually laugh like fuck through it, because we have been there. We investigate, and we kind of know what's going on, kind of thing. Yeah. And we do sometimes laugh at some of the overreactions. Now, we're very logical people, and there was one investigation where the camera didn't show the evidence, but the two of us were affected in some sort of a weird way, and we're terrified of this flipping little spot. It was on top of a hill and that, and I asked Rachel, what was your best moments of, our investigations, which we haven't done a huge amount in that, and she actually says, that little hill, on the island, which is down the road from our house. And, we went to Sharon Rectory, we went to Cumber House a number of times. It was a rock on top of a hill. that she picked as because she was affected so much.
Yeah.
We got that spirit box response, fat cunt, and it could have been referring to me and that, but it was so flippin' clear, and I was going, we were going flippin' hell, but at that moment there was this kind of a numbness came over our body. It wasn't the shock of the spurt box. It was kind of starting before that.
Yeah.
It was something weird. But Rachel had the camera, and it was the worst piece of camera work she ever done because she was shaking and everything. This is in the middle of summer and once we got off the rock, we were fine. But our bodies captured some sort of evidence. All we could do was express to the camera how we were feeling. And very often I don't say how I'm feeling. I'm a little bit better at doing it now. But sometimes you experience stuff that your body picks up and the camera can't. You know.
Yeah, I had exactly the same thing, Sam. When I was getting married, we went to a number of places to host the wedding reception. And we actually went to a place that was literally 2 minutes walk from where I lived at the time, called Aidan Hill House, which oddly it was featured on Most Haunted, one of the latest shows. And I actually went in there. We went in there, and I was in there 2 minutes, and I turned around and said to my ex-wife, "There's no way we're hosting it here," and I turned around and left. And it was solely based on the fact I walked in that place, and it was a beautiful place, but I got such an horrible atmosphere and such an horrible feeling about it from the second I walked in until the second I walked out. And I think we were in there between 2 and 5 minutes, and I said to my ex-wife, "Sorry, but there's no way I'm having my wedding reception here," and we left. Because the oppressing feeling in the place was unbelievable.
Yeah. It's kind of weird too, where TV shows portray the paranormal in a kind of a very scary and negative way, and that's far from the truth, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you do have scary experiences. Yeah, there are a lot of locations that have all this messed up stuff that happened or whatever, and that. But that's only a tip of the iceberg, really. You can have a paranormal experience and it can be a positive one, but nobody talks about that, and it's weird. And I think possibly because the general viewer, sit down in the evening and watch some of these soap operas on television, which is full of negative stuff like affairs, fighting, and that kind of thing. There's always arguments, there's always conflict, there's always negativity in that. And this is pushed out into the paranormal, in the paranormal TV, sector, because it drags in the viewers. You take a picture of the paranormal. It's a scary graveyard with some skulls and crows and all that kind of stuff. That negative, dark feeling in that, and that's far from what the real truth is.
Yeah. I'd like one thing that's kind of really been bugging me, and I have to say something about it, is I've seen for a little while this Estes method has come about, and lots of people are going crazy, and I freaking love it. I love using the Estes method. When I do it, and I've only done it a couple of times, I use my PSB7 because it has a lot of white noise.
Yeah.
And use my headphones and everything, and I can't hear anything when I have those headphones on because it is quite noisy. I see a lot of people using apps and a few other things with with headphones And if you've heard these apps, there's no white noise or anything else, and there's a lot of pauses in between and that. And the person asking questions is sitting right next to them. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, come on, you can hear exactly what they're asking you, and you're feeding into their questions they're asking. For the Estes method to be genuine, or at least, you know, try to be genuine, you should be a fair distance apart. You should not be able to hear anything from the person asking questions at all. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are certain rules you have to follow, and I'm just tired of people picking that apart.
Yeah, I mean, like you do see productions where the person is in a completely different room, and the person asking the questions is whispering. But if they're right beside you and they're shouting and that, you're going to hear them. You know, you're
Yeah,
definitely going to hear them and that. You know.
yeah, absolutely. And you can tell when someone's doing it too, because fair enough, you can get some stuff come through, but when someone's sitting there and the person's next to them and they're like asking questions, and every question they ask, this person is answering it down to a T. What's your name? And then they give a name straight away. Oh,
Yeah,
John. Okay. How old are you, John? What year were you born? And they give an exact year and everything else like that. It's like, come on.
yeah. You definitely, if you're trying to fake that, you definitely have to have some. You know, you have to put in a few falsities in there. You know, like
Yeah.
put speak out speak out a random word that doesn't make any flipping sense to
Yep.
make it flipping real. But sometimes they don't even go that. They're too lazy to make even that much of an effort. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Some shockers.
I've I've never took part in that because to me, the Spirit Box works. I don't need to prove it to anybody else. I don't need to prove it to myself.
Mm.
And the Spirit Box works. Why, yes, I know if you take away a person's sight, their other senses compensate for that.
Mm.
But I don't feel like I need to do that. I know that it works,
Mm.
and my method is just keep doing them. There's people on YouTube. I'm not going to say who goes blabbers on about the Spirit Box and ITC and shouts from the rooftops of a couple of incidents where he got good stuff, but he keeps regurgitating those few things. He has a load of Spirit Boxes and he doesn't flipping use them, and he actually didn't buy any of those Spirit Boxes. They were given to him. Do you know? Yeah, yes, and every couple of months he'll do a Spirit Box session, and he's expecting to get stuff. You need to keep doing it. You need to keep doing it. You need to keep doing one once a week or whatever to keep that connection going. Otherwise, you have to sort of build up that communication link. I can't scientifically prove that, but I believe that the more times you do a Spirit Box sessions, the more chances you have of getting stuff, and
Mm.
the better connection you build. Now, that's a theory. I don't take that as scientific gospel or anything like that. But that's what I truly believe. I don't believe that you can take up a Spirit Box after about 6 months and say, right, we're going to do a Spirit Box session and we're going to get stuff. It just doesn't work like that, I'm afraid. you know?
Well, you look at it like, for instance, when I first bought my PSB7, my very, very first in the beginning. Oh, Brett's gone.
Oh,
He'll be back. um, yeah, when I bought my very first PSB7, I got basically nothing through it when I first started using it, and it took time. But after a little while, you could actually hear the same kind of voices coming through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took me a month. My first hacked radio or spurt box was a PSP 11, which I thought, you know, I wanted something better than the PSP 7, so the PSP 11 must be the better one, which was turned out it was flipping worse. But yeah, it took me a month. It took me 4 weeks at the point where I was about to give up and say this is a load of shit.
I'm sorry.
What?
Something crazy.
Oh my god, you killed Brett.
You can read it out if you want, Julie.
I'm lost here. I don't know what.
Have a look in the private chat, Sam.
Yeah, have a look
Oh,
at the private chat. Brett's being Brett.
Fuck's sake. You had to go there, didn't you?
You don't want to know, Jack.
Jesus. I thought red was good. You know, I got a seat cover and everything, and then my background was going to be black. You had to flip and go there, Brett, didn't you? Fucking hell. That reminds me of the time. Remember the time I used the green screen and I used the Grand Theft Auto woman in the background?
Yeah.
And I got up and the mouth was right at the microphone. That was fucking funny. And it was pure accident, like.
Sound recorders. Why does the EVPs not get captured by the video cam audio?
It does. I got more EVPs on my video cam audio than I've ever got on a recording device. Probably because I use the video recorder more.
Yeah, to be honest with you, Sam, I've got to agree with that. Even when I have used the Tascam, you know, which is a really high quality video recorder, audio recorder, I have only ever got one I would say one decent capture on that recorder compared to the captures I've got on the, you know, like on the video cameras.
I have the wrong hand. You see right there, that machine, yes, where I'm pointing there, that is a machine that came out of a police station for, you know, interviewing suspects and stuff like that. It's a cassette recorder and it's got you can plug in a number of microphones and stuff like that.
Did you steal it during an interview?
Yeah. No, I actually bought it. You know, before I went into the paranormal, I actually done abandoned exploring. And it was an actual EVP picked up on a camera that got me into the paranormal. Now, I was watching Omar Gosh, and you know the way Omar Gosh would say, if you hear or see anything in the background, you know, write it down in the comments. Now, I didn't know at the time that Omar was actually filtering in noises in it. If you put, I don't know if he still does it, but if you put a pair of headphones in, you'd hear these voices coming in, and I know now that they're actually overlays. But because he actually said that, I used to view my abandoned explorers and listen to the audio with headphones. because I think, you know, there's a possibility something paranormal happened, and it did. And that's why I'm here. And it was actually an EVP that was picked up on a second-hand camera that I bought in a second-hand electrical store. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it is, you know, when you think of the camera, you got the visuals, you got the audio recording as well. Fuck's sake. What's going on? What's going on? Fuck you.
I'm just lost. Oh, my back's hurt on half of
Oh.
Okay. I'm going to read you guys this commentary in a minute.
Yeah, they haven't a clue what we're laughing at.
Oh, you guys are going to lose. Oh, my God. Oh, I've lost it. Oh, God. Should I read them the last paragraph?
Yeah, you can do.
And Brett says, when Sam's talking,
You need to read the one above it first to give it context.
You can't see my video. I'm currently wiggling my willy. Sam!
She can't really catch it.
But you can't help yourself and start smirking on the stream. Smirk if you're a big supporter of self-love. I love that. I love that big red knob just below Sam's mouth. And then the last one says, wish you would stop bobbing her head up and down in front of the mic. I'm getting excited.
Yeah, he had to go there.
I think Brett thought this was his OnlyFans account.
You fucking ruined the experience. I was proud of this. I was proud of this new microphone thing. He's gone and he's ruined it on me. Ruined the experience. I wanted my microphone to match my chair. Things will never be the same again.
Oh, I lost it.
Better laughing than crying.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
And I've got a sore throat through laughing. I'm just going to go and grab me a coffee. Be right back.
Oh, my chest.
I even have a red cup. I wanted things to match. I didn't have time to put up the background. I didn't have
you
much
got a
time to.
background?
Yeah, I remember the last time we were on, I had a black background.
Oh, you did too. Was that there that you put it?
Yeah, it's just behind me.
Oh.
Kim said she liked the background the way it is. It's more natural because the equipment's behind me and stuff, and people see the radios and stuff.
I like the radios and that there too, yeah.
Yeah. You know, I know the microwave in the fridge doesn't sort of, doesn't is a bit out of place there now. But the thing with the black background or a dark background, I did have a white background for a stream that you were going to do one Saturday, and an hour before that you said you were sick and you couldn't do it. Well, I actually had. It was red. It was a red background. The camera kept focusing in and out with the red background. It was too bright.
Ah.
But with the black background, the camera behaves an awful lot better. And then you kind of have a neutral background, and if you, like I contrasted the covering the chair.
Yep.
Possibly wearing, a different colour t-shirt, like maybe a red t-shirt for the red chair or whatever. You stand out more, and the background is not the focus.
Yep. Exactly.
But it's on a frame. I have to put it up, and that it does take a few minutes to put together and stuff. But I just got the link, and I just went for it, and I knew I was in the middle of playing a game, and I had disconnected a few things, and when I connected them all back, I had audio issues and screen issues and stuff like that. My main screen isn't working, so.
Yeah. It's the thing, like, once you jump on, because I didn't decide until the last minute. I said to Brett, I might just jump on and just have a chat with everyone, not do anything in particular, just chat. Because I've been sick for so bloody long.
Yeah, I mean, like, there was a couple of times where I thought, hop on random stream and that. Do you know, if you plan something sometimes, and you say, right, I'm going to put out a stream tomorrow night. Tomorrow night comes and you're not in the mood for it. You're in the mood right now to do it, and you're thinking about it right now, but you're not sort of in the mood the next day. You might wake up, you might have had a bad sleep or whatever. And sometimes I like to be random like that, where, I want to do something, I'll go and do it. And it's very often that happens with paranormal investigations. I could be sitting in the house, and next thing, I want to go out, and next time I'm gone. And it doesn't sort of suit Rachel because it's my randomness. Do you know that kind of way? So sometimes Rachel isn't with me.
Yeah.
Rachel's only with me in the planned investigations and that. Not these ones that I say, I'm sick of sitting at home, I need to get out. Hopefully we'll get back to it, folks, when I get my car fixed.
Oh, definitely.
Do you think it's the time of year for us, Sam? Because when it's summer, people don't seem to want to go out so much, and a lot of people like to do them in the dark. And because we don't get dark until like 10 o'clock. Well, not now, but in the height of summer, it's like 10 o'clock, innit? And people tend to be doing other things during the summer. Do you find it gets better as the winter starts to get closer?
I think so, yeah. Around autumn time where the weather's still kind of good and stuff. But
Yeah.
in the summertime, people are with their families, they're doing things, and when they're out doing a barbecue or out visiting a place or whatever, you can go further into the night doing that thing.
Yeah.
So people tend to do these paranormal investigations less, I think. And as well as that, it it doesn't get dark till 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night. In the winter time, you can go out at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening, and it looks dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jackie, it ain't just Sam's channel. It's YouTube in general when it comes down to notifications lately. For some reason, they're just not putting them out at all. I'm getting notifications off people's videos that have been done 2-3 days before I'm getting a notification about them.
I was so annoyed. I done a video that's not paranormal. I was ripping the piss out of Jordan Peterson, and I planned that video so much. I even bought a judge's wig and a cloak and a gavel and everything. And I had so many problems with that video, between copyright, inappropriate language, and I had to upload it a number of times and edit stuff out, and buying the stuff for the video and that, and I put it out. And there still isn't a comment on that video, I think.
Yeah.
And I probably pushed it out to the wrong genre and that, but I just thought, I'll try something different, and I thought it might be a little bit of comedy or whatever, but it just it bombed, and nobody got a notification, probably because of the subject matter, and possibly YouTube is protecting people like Jordan Peterson, which they shouldn't be. Everybody's fair game,
Was that a recent video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it wasn't paranormal. It was something I thought I would just. I look at other parts of YouTube. I do have an interest in the History podcast and Deaf Noodles. I know Deaf Noodles has a bit of controversy in that, but I generally like the stuff in that. And I came across this topic and that, and I thought I'd put my own spin on it and that, and it didn't work, unfortunately.
You never know. Now we know it's there. We can all go and watch it, and maybe
I'm quite lucky because a couple of Sam's videos I've only caught recently because she's put a notification on Facebook that they've just gone up. I've been getting my notifications for YouTube off Facebook because they tend to be more on the ball than YouTube itself.
When I logged in, when I saw your live pop up tonight, or my tonight, I went over to yours and I looked through my notifications, and that's when I saw a notification for one of Sam's recent videos.
Yeah.
And I'd started watching that tonight while I was getting set up and everything, but I don't remember it popping up
No, they're
on
not.
my phone.
They're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had an investigation that Rachel done on her own with a friend, and that and this is actually I says at the beginning of 2022. It was actually at the end of 2021. It was actually October of 2021, and they got permission to do a paranormal investigation in their workplace, because that current workplace where they were actually doing up, and the previous workplace, I was actually in the previous workplace, and it's messed up. It's really, there's something really, really wrong with this other place that they were in. But the painter was up on the ladder painting, And this backpacker walks past and then just disappears and that. And they were going, this is messed up, you know? So they got permission to do the investigation, but they didn't get permission for public broadcasting. But the thing is, we had to leave that video sitting for all this time, but they're now moving, so... And they have some financial difficulty, so they can't sue us anyway, so...
Yeah.
We said, flip it, we'll put it out, you know?
Yeah, I don't blame you.
You know, I had to blank out a couple of things because it would give away where the location was, and I done my best with that, but it wasn't good enough for them. But now, you know, they done a bit of dirty on Rachel and that, and I basically I just don't care anymore, and I says we'll put it out.
Mm-hmm.
So we did, you know.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, Sam, it's a bit stupid giving somebody permission to film in an area and then not expect them to put it out publicly, especially considering what the content was.
No, the thing is, there's a big difference in paranormal investigating and public broadcasting. There is a group that they're connected with Most Haunted Experience, which was the deal cruncher for me. I says, they handed me all these kind of forms and everything to fill out because I was going to join them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got pissed afterwards when myself and Rachel joined forces, and we decided we would do investigations and share them on YouTube and that. And when the channel started to take off in the YouTube, in the paranormal YouTube way, you know, 2,500 is not very much in YouTube terms and that, but in paranormal terms, it's quite good in that.
Yeah.
They started messaging me and saying, "Oh, we're doing this investigation. Would you like to come? And we'll meet you at this place and that." And we'd spend ages. We'd spend the day before charging up equipment and that, and then lugging it into the car and go to the location where we're supposed to meet them, and they don't show up. And I says, this is dirty. I haven't done anything to them and that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So they're actually a team. I worked with them before, where I couldn't film them, and they actually don't. They have a group on Facebook. I don't know why they do, because all they say is we had a brilliant investigation and such castle, and here's some pictures and that.
Yeah.
But no filming of the investigation and stuff. Ronnie is different like that because he goes live himself and he films for himself and that.
Mm-hmm.
He mightn't put the whole investigation, like we would put a security camera on and we'd leave it on the whole fucking night and then put out the whole thing raw. You know, Ronnie puts out bits, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, this other team, they kept all the information to themselves, and some people do.
Well, are they actually connected to Most Haunted? Because surely what they're doing is actually infringing copyright of Most Haunted. Otherwise, it seems a bit double standards. Otherwise,
I don't know the full ins and outs. It's called Most Haunted Experience.
Yeah.
Do you know?
If they're worried about people infringing on their copyrights and they're using that name without the permission of Most Haunted itself, it just comes across as a bit hypocritical and double standards.
Well, they had uniforms with Most Haunted Experience on them, so I don't know. And they were in touch with, they are regularly in touch with some of the people in Most Haunted. So I don't know how it works, to be honest with you.
It sounds like there's a bit of money changing hands somewhere there.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah, there was a fee for the use of equipment and stuff, even though I had all my equipment myself. Then you're talking about insurance. Then you're talking about uniform, and it was just far too much complications.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you had to fill out this form and you had to have insurance and blah blah. I understand the insurance bit, you know.
Oh
some
yeah.
of these some of these other teams that I worked with, right? They have their insurance and they just pay it. And if we investigate with them, we're sort of insured with them, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's public liability insurance. The thing
Yeah,
is, if you do anything over here in the UK that involves you getting Joe Public to join in, by law, you're supposed to have public liability insurance. Same
yeah,
as if you're going into like a band, urbex and stuff like that. Technically, all those people supposed to have public liability insurance because if they cause any damage to that building or cause damage to somebody whilst in that building, they are legally responsible.
yeah. The nearest thing to a claim that I got was one night when we were investigating Sharon Rectory. There was, do you know the way some walls are sort of wood halfway up and then the rest is painted?
Yeah,
And it's paneling, and there's a little bit of a shelf at the top of where the wood is, and it's
yeah,
up it's sort of up near your elbow.
yeah.
Well, the people of the house actually had some ornaments on this little shelf just inside the door, and there was this vase.
Yeah,
And I was coming in, and I hit the vase with my elbow, and I had the camera in the other hand, and the vase fell. And I don't know how. I don't know. It was like slow motion, where my heart stopped, and I put my hand down really quick, and I caught it on the way down,
yeah.
and I was going, and it was an antique, you know.
Yeah, but their own insurance would cover them for that because them allowing you into the building, you then fall under their public liability insurance. That's how it works. But
Yeah,
if you take anybody into that building as a group and they state that you have to have public liability insurance, that's why you have to have it because you have to cover anything that happens during that investigation. But as to buying uniforms and paying for equipment that you're not even using, that is just absolutely ridiculous, and that is just, in my opinion, a blatant cash grab.
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
You know, I mean, like, on the moment, the first thing that came into my head, I don't want the embarrassment of
Yeah,
breaking something, you know,
yeah.
because I did see another team before where a wall plate fell off a wall,
Well,
and
yeah, yeah.
it was
That's a very famous incident over here.
yeah, that was an embarrassing situation, like, you know, and it was quite funny and that. But you're standing there, you're live, and you're going, where do you go from there? Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you know. But yeah, lucky it didn't break, and I caught it on the way down and that. But yeah,
See, this is why I'm very loath to go to anywhere that touts itself as a haunted location because they're commercial, and the most famous one over here has got to be East Drive, and what they charge for anybody to go to that place is scandalous in the first place. You know,
Rich
and
from. Sorry, go on ahead.
and if you look at the evidence of people who have actually been there, very little, if anything, happens nowadays. I don't dispute at the time with the original family in East Drive something was going on. I don't dispute that fact. But since they made the film about the place, the guy who made the film bought the house. He's now charging people ridiculous amounts of money to go in there and do it. And I can honestly say, hand on heart, I have seen hundreds of East Drive videos, and I have not seen a single one of them that has any convincing evidence in it. It gets to the point where people just hear a creak or anything like that, and they start banging on about it being paranormal, because it's got to the point they've paid the money to go there, the place has got a reputation it doesn't deserve, and they feel that they have to keep the motivation of that reputation going. And that is why I'm a big supporter of saying to people, don't go to commercially claimed haunted locations. Go to abandoned cottages down the road, or abandoned factories, or areas where there's been battles in the past, because you're more likely to get genuine evidence from a place like that than you am from some commercially run house that is literally rigged up to look like it's still in the 80s.
The thing about it is, we take East Drive as an example. Now, Paranormal Tedium actually done a video on the amount of money it costs to go into some of these places. Some of these places I never heard of, but they're pretty expensive. But East Drive did come into it.
Yeah.
The guy that owns East Drive never spent a night in that house.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, if a place is haunted, right? If it's so haunted, I know some places possibly are, but why aren't they not monitored 24/7?
Exactly.
Exactly. We got the technology, like,
It's something that could be monitored really cheaply. You could buy a CCTV system now that could monitor every single room in East Drive for about £300-400, which is nothing, because that's less than 2 nights of charging somebody to go there, right?
Yeah.
That CCTV can then be plugged into a network recorder so that they can monitor that house from anywhere. They don't even have to be in the house. So why has that never been done?
Yeah, I monitor my house from Rachel's house, or wherever I have my phone or whatever.
Yeah, well, I do with these gardens. I can watch the birds from anywhere. I don't have to be in the house to watch them.
Yeah, I mean, like, we've got that technology in that, yet we're hiding it as if it's some sort of mystery in that. We can put it to bed, monitor it 24/7. When you monitor a place 24/7, very often you don't have the pollution of people being there. But then people might argue, that activity doesn't happen unless you're there and you're calling out to the spirits and stuff like that. No. If it's that haunted, you will get activity without people being there.
Exactly.
Actually, I watch this one channel, not so much anymore, but Live Sci-Fi, and he used to go to the Sally House in the US, and he used to go to Haunted Hill House and a couple of others, and he would have cameras that he would set up in every single room.
Yeah.
And then he would have a feed to YouTube that would show each and every one of the screens, and they would have it run for the whole 3 days or something that they were there.
Yeah.
And that was good to see.
Yeah. I could take this CCTV system I've got here to a location, as long as they've got electricity and internet, and do it, sort of thing.
Yeah, Peninsula Paranormal had a TV system as well, but it wasn't rigged live or anything like that. They used the footage for reviewing for evidence, and they wouldn't put out the whole raw file. They would just put out the evidence, basically.
I'm just going to get a warm drink. Hang on.
Okay.
But
if you think about it, Sam, the increase in technology over the last 30 years has been incredible. Everybody literally carries a camera with them now. In the form of their phone. But paranormal activity itself has not increased in any way, shape, or form. So that that in itself demonstrates the fact that people don't need to be in a certain place for the paranormal to start.
Yeah, the reason why these other places are pushed is it's the money aspect of it, I mean, like, we didn't even go to a building to get some of our stuff. We went on top of a rock in the middle of a woods.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, two of my investigations. One of them's done at a folly, not far from here, that's known to be haunted, and the other one's done in the middle of a wood, Wombwell Woods,
Yeah.
which has got a number of paranormal phenomena attached to it. And they were two of my best investigations, and neither of them charge you a penny to access the area. Neither of them.
Yeah. The thing about that rock in the forest, actually, we had already done our investigation on a beach, which I've never seen an investigation on a beach, so we decided we'd try it.
Yeah.
And we were finished our investigation on the beach, and we were driving home, and I says, why don't we have a look here, and we might do an investigation here someday, and that. So I grabbed a camera and a spirit box, and that's where things kicked off. And we were only there, we had only just arrived at it. We were only there to look. As far as we were concerned, our investigation was over. But just in case, we grab a camera and a spirit box.
Yeah.
And that's where the activity was. Now, somebody was telling me that knows the area that it was possibly one of these mass rocks, and there was actually, people killed because of these mass rocks and stuff like that. So we sort of have to go further into the history and investigate that further before we sort of go back,
Yeah.
But we didn't pay a penny for most of the investigations. We gave a donation for Sharon Rectory, because they're renovating parts of their house and stuff like that, and they're just private people and that.
Yeah.
Cumber House is a GAA organisation, and that the building is used for community stuff and that, and they have a charge. It's not huge. It's about it was about 70 quid. But you put divide that amongst a half a dozen people or whatever. It's not very much.
Yeah,
you might pay.
That, Sam, if you think about it, Sam, that is pretty much if you were hiring a room out for, say, a party, that'd be what you'd be expecting to pay for a room for the night anyway, wouldn't it? So that ain't like extortion by any stretch of the imagination.
No. And like Rich says, you can either fork out hundreds and hundreds of quid for a 1970s council house for the night, where you can't cook, and you have to take in, you go to the takeaway to get your food and stuff.
Yeah.
Or you can spend the night in a nice luxury hotel. Which one are you going to pick?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I think, you see, places like East Drive and that, it's a trending place.
Yeah.
It's a YouTube trending place.
Yeah.
It's a
this is it.
Twitter
If anybody can go to East Drive, not be well known, but you can guarantee that video will get hits. Not because of the content, but because of where it actually is.
Yeah.
And that was what I was saying earlier. These places are relying on reputation. And when investigators go there and get nothing, they have to invent stuff, because otherwise they feel somehow inadequate. Because all these other people before them have been and they've heard this and seen that, none of which has ever been documented or shown. It's all claims. 99% of the stuff that comes out of East Drive is personal feelings and stuff. But they feel they have to maintain that level of activity to justify paying the price in the first place, and to justify their own validity as an investigative team.
Yeah. Here's where the problem is, right? If I go to Ballyboley Woods, Ballyboley Forest, which it's got a reputation for ETs, Bigfoot, and paranormal activity, and it's a famous place here. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No, of course I have to be honest with you.
There's where the fucking problem is. Most of my viewers are from the UK. I go to Ballybollywood's. They'll say, "Where the fuck is that?" You know, it's not a trending place in the UK. It's a trending place in Ireland.
Yeah.
And these famous places, they're trending places, and that's where it's view grabbing. You know, these places are view grabbing.
Yeah.
But they're legit businesses. But the thing is, people are complaining about the prices and stuff, and they're still paying them.
They're still paying.
If you're complaining about the flipping prices, don't go to these flipping places. Boycott them, because you cannot do a full paranormal investigation in one night for 4 or 5 hours.
No.
You need a couple of weeks, and one night is just a taste of what you can experience in that. Is it worth 300, 400, 500 quid? No, it's not. To me, it's not anyway.
If you have to do a proper long-term investigation in the likes of East Drive, you would be paying thousands, and I guarantee you at the end of it, you'd have little to no evidence.
Yeah. Here's the other way that it's actually done. If you have a paranormal channel that has 10,000 subscribers or whatever, and you've got that fan base that's willing to finance that because they want to see it, they will pay for it.
Yeah.
It's not. It won't be on the person that owns the channel. The people will pay, and they'll even pay for your petrol and that.
Yeah.
If you're that big, you know. So it's not you. You know, very often these people say we're going to East Drive. If you want to see us go to East Drive, if you could help us out, we would be grateful.
Yeah.
The fan base is going to do that, and that's, you know, the smaller channels can't do that. The smaller channels do that, but they have to save money for that, and it comes out of their own pocket. These other bigger channels, they can go any time at all because they say we need some finance to go to this place.
Yeah.
There'd be people in the fan base who are business people or have got a good job on that. They say, go to the place. We'd love to see it. Here's the money.
Yeah.
And they will sponsor that.
Yeah.
Do you know? But they should. They really they shouldn't, because it is distortion. No matter who's paying for it, it isn't right. It's way too much money.
Yeah, and then once it's paid by other people's money, by the viewers' money, they've then got to justify. They've got to provide a product for that money, and this is where the faking and the exaggeration gets worse.
Yeah,
because
and then
they feel obliged to produce something for that money.
The bigger channels will get that money back. Yeah. with the video, with the advertising, the merchandise, the sponsorship or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the smaller person isn't. They are, you know, they'll get some donations possibly, but largely it'll come out of their own pocket, along with transport, food, and any other expense involved in going to that place and investigating it. And they may not get the views to retrieve that money back. So it's actually a bad business decision.
Yeah.
But people often go because everybody's talking about it and they just want to experience it.
Yeah.
You know? And if people stopped paying and complained enough and boycotted these places that were charging extortion amount of money, they would soon drop the price.
Yeah, I've had a couple of opportunities to go to East Drive because it is literally only 40 minutes drive from where I live. It's literally about 30, 40 mile away from me. That's all it is. You know, but every time I've refused, and I've always said I would never go because I think it's probably the most overrated location in the UK.
Yeah, I was offered as well, and the people that offered me went before, and he said that he got more activity in the abandoned house down the road from his house.
Yeah.
Do you know?
It's sad to see everything overdone so much that it no longer becomes what it should be. Like the paranormal world, when we had a few genuine people or whatever, or even anyone else that comes into it, if they kept it genuine, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But then when you've got all of these other people coming into the genre, I will say, making a big mockery of it, it's sad that so many people push this as being genuine.
Mm-hmm.
There should have been a distinction from the get-go. This is entertainment. This is real paranormal. You go one direction or the other, and it's just so. Yeah.
Tracy's just summed it up perfectly there. People get sucked into the hype.
Oh, they
And
do.
that is exactly what it is. It's spot on. But with places like East Drive, you've got to think a lot of these paranormal channels actually contradict themselves, because while they're there, they're making out that all this paranormal activity is down to energy. Okay? But if you think a place like East Drive is having people investigating that particular location pretty much every single day of the year, and they're all claiming to receive all this paranormal activity, it's not a limitless supply. It's got to it's got to drain down at some point and needs to build back up again. It's got to, natural. There is no such thing as an unending energy supply at the moment, because otherwise, with a lot of the Earth's problems would be solved if there was. So we know from physics that energy needs to replete itself at some point. So there's absolutely no way that house that has been bombarded for years, day after day after day, could be generating the amount of paranormal activity that people claim it is. It's just physically impossible. They contradict themselves.
Do you know when you go to somebody's house, you get a feeling in the house?
Yeah.
It's very hard to explain it. You get a feeling in the house. Yeah. I've been at somebody else's house where the previous tenants that were in there, one of them got shot, and it was a horrible feeling at that house. Do you know, you get this gut instinct or gut feeling. I can't really explain it. You feel something. When you think that some of these places that are investigated every flipping weekend, you got a pollution of energy when you think about it.
Spot on.
I can't put a scientific thing to it, but there's people going there every weekend and calling out for Jack or whatever the black monk is, and pissing him off and calling him a pussy and all this kind of stuff, and all that energy and the tension and stuff like that. When you think some of that energy stays in the house when the person leaves, and then somebody else comes in and it's the same thing, and it's just this build up of all this conflicting energy kind of thing, like it's a public place.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm putting it across right,
I know exactly what you're saying, because all the big personalities and big influences and all the energy they're carrying and the energy they're putting out with what they're saying and asking to happen, it has to have some kind of a bearing on the energy of the place.
Yeah, of course it does.
And usually when they're calling out and doing investigation, it's usually down the dark side, to be honest with you. It's not...
Yep.
It's not sympathetic to whatever is happening in the house.
Mm-hmm.
They hear a story that there's this monk and he's a bit fucked up or whatever, and he's an awful man and that, and they go in and start calling him names. And then other people hear about it and that, and they act in the same flipping way.
Yeah, but you've got to ask yourself what sort of effect is that kind of negativity having on the place? Because there's not just the negativity of the so-called ghost in there. You're then having people going in and adding to that negativity. So surely it's got to have an effect on it, because we know the vast majority of hauntings tend to be residual. So they're not, they're not like intelligent where they're interacting. They're more like a replay of events. So we know
Yeah.
that it occurs, and surely pumping that kind of negativity into an area over and over and over again has got to have some kind of effect on the building or the area. It's got to do.
Yeah. I'm gonna go make myself a cup of coffee here. Be back in a
Okay,
Hi,
sec.
okay.
Tom. Hi, Tomaline. Welcome. We're good. Yeah, I think that we actually touched on that one of our last streams because the little cemetery that I'd been to in South Australia, the Yulee Road one, and then Tracy had actually been there and captured this figure that I had seen. Tracy actually captured a picture of it on photo.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a phenomenon at that cemetery, apparently, of a white lady crossing the road into the cemetery.
Hmm.
And I did a lot of research in that when I'd been there and found out that back when this first originated, it was actually a story that a couple of drunk men had made up about seeing a ghost when it wasn't
Yeah.
actually real.
Yeah.
But over time, people had actually started seeing this lady in white.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, that's the perfect example of the Philip experiment.
yeah, yeah, they were
Because
creating.
we know how that went in the end. They actually managed to create an entity that they could communicate with solely
Yeah,
on their belief. Not only an entity, but an entity that they had specified. They specified every single aspect of Philip. His life, his death, everything.
oh, Tourmalini's Lou. Hello, Lou. I didn't know it was you. Hi, lovely. Tourmaline, she's Tracy's buddy. They go out and investigate together.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah.
There is a saying: if enough people believe, it will be real, and that's true, Jack.
Mm,
In many aspects, it can become real in the fact that it becomes an urban myth that people believe, or it can become real in the fact that it becomes physically real.
absolutely. We actually, it's a pity that we didn't kind of continue that when we started it because
Yeah,
we were
because
starting to get,
Sam started to get the names come through on the spirit box.
yeah, yeah, we were getting some good evidence off that.
Hmm.
I've seen other people start that experiment on YouTube since we did that too, you know.
Have you?
Yep, yep.
What about Bigfoot, Jack? Bigfoot and a question mark needs elaborating on.
Big feet. I remember I was on this channel, and I was in the chat of this channel was talking about Bigfoot, and I just decided I'd crack a joke. I says, "Do you know Bigfoot? If there's more than one Bigfoot, are they called Big Feet
Big
or
feet.
Bigfoot?"
Yeah.
And next thing, the guy on the stream started going into the scientific explanation and this big long spiel and that. And I was just cracking a fucking joke, like.
And what was his conclusion on the end, Bigfoot?
He says both meanings could be used to describe Bigfoot and that. I was just cracking a fucking joke. I was just expecting a laugh, but he went into this whole big spiel about the terminology and all the rest of it.
The grammar.
Yeah.
Personally, I would say, one Bigfoot, many Bigfoot. But that kind of thing is a personal preference, isn't it? Some people would say one Bigfoot, many big feet.
Yeah, it's kind of weird the way we interpret things in English. Sometimes, like do you know what dog and dogs as in plural, but sheep is
sheep is a perfect example.
Yeah, it's the same word for plural or singular. You don't say sheeps. I sometimes say it just to be humorous, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sheeps.
Yeah. One sheep, many sheep.
One sheep, many sheep. Little sheep, big sheep.
Yeah. Black sheep, white sheep, fluffy sheep.
I almost took out a bloody galah on the road today, and I saw an echidna.
Did you?
Yeah, a little echidna by the road. He was sniffling around and eating ants and stuff.
Did you try and run him over as well?
No, no. I pulled over and we were watching him for a bit before we kept going.
Then you record him.
No, because every time I've got to get out of the car and get a distance enough to get a good picture of them. Otherwise, it'll just look like a blob.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you get out of the car, they'll bury their head into the ground
Right.
to protect themselves from predators, and they'll just sit there until you leave.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I
they're
didn't
clever
realise
little
they did
things.
that.
Yeah, they're only about that big. They're not very big.
It says they damage your tyres.
Nah. Oh, if you hit a wombat ever, I've never hit one. I'm not that cruel, but apparently they're like a rock. They can actually shear your wheel off and everything.
Really?
Yeah, they're like a big chunk of rock. They're solid.
So, what's your opinion on having the thylacine reintroduced, Julie? Apparently, within the next decade, you're going to have them back.
I don't know. I think it will be good. I'm hopeful for the advances in science, because if they're able to do this, there
Mm-hmm.
may be other animals that they can save from extinction.
Yeah, well, the one after the thylacine they're going to do is the mammoth, the woolly mammoth.
Oh, the mammoth would be amazing. I'd
Yeah.
love to see that. Yeah.
Because apparently they've still got viable DNA, because they only went, I think, extinct about 10,000 years ago, something like that. So they've
Yeah.
still got viable DNA from mammoths, but the thylacine only went extinct in the 30s, wasn't it?
Well,
So,
didn't they find a mammoth that was fully frozen?
yeah,
Like it was in
Yeah.
perfect condition.
a mammoth
Yeah.
calf. Yeah,
It had
Yeah.
hair. It had
Yeah.
hair and all.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's where they've got the majority of the DNA from for the mammoth. But the thylacines, obviously, they're very recent. They've only been extinct about 80 years. But apparently the technology's done, and they're in the process of doing it. But they've said within 10 years, they should be at a point where they can literally repatriate them into the wildlife.
It'll be interesting because I know years ago we had Dolly the sheep over here, and they had all sorts of complications and things trying to grow animals in test tubes and things.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see where their science has gone since then. What
Yeah,
they're
well,
able to do.
apparently Dolly didn't last very long, did she?
No.
As a normal sheep, apparently her had a number of problems, but
Yeah.
you're going, how long's Dolly been now? 20 years, 30 years ago?
Oh, probably even
It's
a
got to
bit.
be a fair
Yeah.
time now. You
Yeah.
imagine how the technology's come on since then.
Oh, leaps and bounds.
Some reckon now that the dinosaurs that we see in Jurassic Park and stuff like that, their shape was, roughly around like that, but they had a lot of them had feathers.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they think
You know?
they think the Velociraptor now had feathers. That's why
Yeah.
in the later Jurassic Park films they started to stick feathers on them, whereas in the first film they were bald.
Yeah.
Wasn't it years ago, and this is, I believe, maybe where they got the idea for Jurassic Park, years ago, didn't they find mosquitoes in actual
Yeah,
amber
yeah.
that still had dinosaur DNA inside?
Oh yeah, they have extracted dinosaur DNA out of mosquitoes, but obviously it's degraded to the point it's no good for cloning. But they have actually taken dinosaur blood out of the bodies of mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some element of truth in it because the parts of the DNA that were missing, the frog was the nearest thing to it, and that's why the frog was brought into the Jurassic Park. There's a lot of stuff that is actually, looked into while making that film. To make that film, there's a lot of elements of truth
and like
there.
Jack put there, what they've got to be careful of with
really ancient creatures is things like the atmosphere, because that is right. The atmosphere when the dinosaurs around did have more oxygen. So you've got to be careful, because they're bringing animals back who are going to behave like that at the top of the Mount Everest nowadays, because of the lack of oxygen. Their bodies were designed to work on 50% more oxygen. They'd pretty much suffocate nowadays.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Daz Black's little skits on Jurassic Park?
No.
They were funny as fuck. He played 3 different characters dressed in different ways and stuff like that, and they were so flippin' good. Daz Black, that's what the name of the channel is.
Mm-hmm.
Daz Black is bloody hilarious. I watch his stuff all the time.
Yeah, his Jurassic Park ones is flipping really funny. There's Daz Games and there's Daz Black.
No, I'll have to look him up.
Oh, it's flipping, they're hilarious.
He's the one that just did that React thing on
The Andrew Tate thing? Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah.
He ain't the one who did that mock-up of a paranormal investigation, is he?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah, the Jurassic Park ones are really funny.
I'll have to look him up then.
He's the one at the end of all of his videos. He used to go, "Oh."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on his second channel, Daz Black.
Yeah, Daz Black.
So why do you think we never see any ghosts of dinosaurs?
Good point.
I'm going with the George Meeks explanation of different levels of existence. Over time, you go into a level where we cannot. It doesn't cross with our level of existence. The lower levels do.
Or it could be the one where you can come back as anything you want. I want to come back as the bird.
My take on it is, and I think it's the energy dissipates after a certain time, and I think this is why at the moment we see a lot of like Victorian ghosts and stuff like that. But even though we see like ancient Romans, they're not as common as like I've seen like Victorian era stuff. And I think after so many hundreds of years, the energy dissipates and converts into something else, especially with the residual stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think it goes into other animals or humans or living trees or something?
It just converts like any other energy.
Yeah.
Into, because they say you can't destroy energy, only
it's ever changing.
Only change it. So I just think it changes into something else, and it slowly dissipates.
Yeah.
And I think all the energy that was about 65 million years ago, at this point, has dissipated into something else.
Jack just made a good point. Maybe that's what all those growls are. They're not demons, they're dinosaurs.
Could be.
Could be.
You're hearing a T-Rex?
Yeah.
I'll be back in a sec.
All right.
Yeah, I think in the paranormal, the people jump down the Desmond route when it comes to growls and that. We got a growl and a bark from a dog in Sharon Rectory. Now the story attached to Sharon Rectory, there's a number, and one of them was something to do with this black dog. A black dog is often steeped in paranormal history here in this country. Like a demon dog or whatever.
Or like a hellhound, yeah.
Yes, where the dog actually went through a gate where it physically couldn't, kind of thing. But we picked up on an EVP recorder the barking of a dog, and they don't have a dog, and the neighbours don't have a dog. And I was home listening to this footage and that, and I'm going, I can't get my head around this. It's definitely a dog. So I get into the car and I drive down the road, and I spend some time in the surrounding area, and there's no dog. And even if there was, you wouldn't pick it up in a basement underground with a big flipping house on top of it. Do you know that kind of way?
Yep.
It's like over here, Sam. We've got a place called the Black Country Museum, which is back in my hometown in Dudley, right? And what they do is they dismantle buildings, you know, from the industrial age, and they literally move them brick by brick to the Black Country Museum, and each brick is individually numbered, so they don't just rebuild the building. They put every single brick back in the original place it was in the original building.
Yeah.
Now they have reported ghosts at the Black Country Museum that were reported at the buildings in their original location. So to me, that has got to be some of the best proof that these residual ghosts are actually connected to the very fabric of the building rather than an actual ghost itself. And the energy somehow moves with the physical building.
Yeah, it matches the same thing that was happening at the Ulster American Folk Park, where there's a house called the Rogan House, and I filmed that. That house actually came from America, and it was quarantined for 2 years. It was, on pallets to make sure there was no bugs and all that kind of stuff. And when it was put together, there's the sounds of children running up and down the stairs and laughing and stuff like that. Do you know?
Is that the house from when you walked around the reenactment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the silicone was still on the bricks where the numbers were.
Yeah.
So it was kind of put
That's exactly what they do with the Black Country Museum. They transport these buildings and literally rebuild them in the museum, right down to each individual brick is put back exactly where it was in the original building when it was at its original location. And they have actually had ghosts move from the original location to the Black Country Museum with the building.
Yeah, they were so intricate with this particular house in the Ulster American Folk Park. They took photographs of the cracks in the ceiling and the stains, and they put the stains and the cracks back in the ceiling and that.
Yeah.
Night, Kim.
Night, Kim.
Is it getting late over there, Julie?
10:50.
Oh, that ain't too bad.
Almost 11 p.m. Yeah. I'm a bit of a night owl.
Yeah, I'm no.
Thank you, Tara. Lovely having you in. Night, Jackie Evelyn. Yeah, I'm a night owl. I always
Everybody's deserting us.
Yeah. 8:51 a.m. for Jack. That would be US, wouldn't it?
What time is it here?
Yeah, because you're almost 2 p.m.
2. Yeah.
13:52.
West Coast.
I like that on your live stream, how it has your date and your time, because I can look at it and go, oh, yeah, it's lunchtime there or something,
That's the webcam. That comes with the webcam itself.
Yeah.
With the CCTV cam.
And the temperature and stuff.
The temperature's actually pulled off another website.
All right.
That's actually that, believe it or not, is made up from about 5 separate things, all combined into one little icon thing there.
I like this screen better, though, since you took the frame off it and you've just got the little banner at the bottom. Yeah. That looks really good.
You can see a lot more.
Yeah.
I'm actually useless with that kind of stuff. Even, people do reaction videos to other videos and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's very embarrassing, but I actually film it with a camera. I film the screen. I know there's a way of doing it, of screen capturing that, but I can't do it. I don't know how to do it.
You need a screen capture card.
I have one. A capture card, I have one.
Yeah, well, you just do it through your capture card. Or there is software that you can do it with, Sam.
Right.
Yeah, I tried to, because mine's a Mac. I tried to do it through.
Oh, well, that says everything.
I tried to do it through QuickTime, but when I did it through QuickTime, do the screen capture, it didn't record the sound. So I was doing this video game thing that I was like playing and that, and then I watched it back and there was no bloody sound, and I'm like, well, that's just great. I can't play that again now.
Yeah, sometimes I want to do video games and stuff, and I just don't know how to capture the screen capture. You know, and I have been filming the screen, which is horrible quality.
It's really easy if you do it through OBS, if you're doing games or anything.
Yeah.
Because basically all you do is you could set up different sources, and if you're playing a game, you can actually tell OBS, grab this screen. OBS is really easy to do it with.
I
Yeah.
just find OBS a bit complicated than that. I just, maybe I don't have enough patience. I don't know.
You should watch a few videos on it, Sam. There's a couple of YouTube videos you'll find is really simple once you've got the basic thing of what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I think I have the hardware, like, you know what I mean?
You don't even need hardware if you're playing the game directly on the same computer.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a PS2 that I wanted to connect up on that.
Hang on, I don't know if I can show you.
Oh, I had to get my two girls a laptop for school for next year. And so if we ever want to jump on and have a game of
There you go. Look,
thingy, I can test it.
I'm just gonna show you something really quickly.
Go for it.
Right, if you watch my birdie stream in a minute,
Okay.
you should see something pop up in a bit in the left-hand corner.
Yep. The chat.
Your chat, I'm capturing.
Oh, that is awesome. And you just put that in the live.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have a window open.
That's how easy it is with OBS.
I have OBS on this. I should use it. I should like train myself to learn how to use it.
That bird stream I'm doing is all done through OBS.
Yeah.
See, this StreamYard is good for things like we do, like chat. What are you laughing at?
I just saw on your banner, species visited. It had cat.
Yeah.
Was there a cat?
Oh, we have loads of cats walking backwards and forwards along the wall. When I got up this morning to set the stream up, there was a bugger sitting on the wall right by the feeders, waiting for the birds to turn up.
Oh, I bet he was.
He soon got shooed away.
Yeah, little bugger.
Oh.
But yes, StreamYard itself is good for these kind of things where you've got guests on. OBS is a lot better for doing streams like that, where you want to do just you and something else.
Brett, you want to be careful. Your neighbours are playing music.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for copyright.
Right. Then we just do...
Oh, they are too. Buggers.
So all we do then is that and that. And the sound should go off in a minute.
You know that big feeder that you have in the middle of the screen?
Yeah.
It looks like it has twisties in it.
That's basically suet pellets.
Yeah. And are they worms in the shorter one?
Yeah, they're mealworms.
Yeah, that's cool.
Let's move that up the top,
Yeah, there's no sound now.
and then move it across so it's centered horizontally, and then bring it down a fraction, and then lock it again. You should see a little notification appear, zip up to the top that says audio currently muted.
Yep. It is there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Good night, Lou. Good night, Tracy. Sleep well.
This is a bit like paranormal investigating, where if you were doing it right, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Just sort of natural. Just run a camera.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
And then what I'm doing in the garden could be done in a room anywhere.
Yeah.
Literally anywhere.
Yep.
The only thing is, you know, with that kind of paranormal investigating, nobody wants to watch it.
Nope.
Sadly, no.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit! Are you 23 degrees centigrade?
Yeah.
It's about 16 or 17 here, and it's pissing rain.
It's really what we had rain this morning, but it's warm and muggy again here.
All right, I'm going to end the stream, and you guys
Okay.
can stay on, and we can chat.
Yeah. About
So
Sam and a red knob.
Yep. She can put a red knob back up. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming over and enjoying the live this evening. Thank you, Sam and Brett, for joining me.
You're more than welcome.
Thanks very much.
Birdie.
Thanks very much for inviting us. It's great to have a chat. You know.
Definitely was. All right, we will say goodbye to you guys until next week. Take care.
Have a good
everyone.
night, everybody. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.